Do you not think it's a bit reprehensible on these two hugely influential football clubs that they can seemingly spend time to justify the actions or to find a mitigation behind provocation? By the way, people can say things in this society.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be incendiary. You can just have an opinion, right? It doesn't have to light people up and give us an excuse. But don't you find it marginally reprehensible? They seem to be able to find the time to tell you the reasons why something happened, rather than the energy to absolutely and wholeheartedly condemn unacceptable behaviour.
Well, I agree, Simon. Let's take it further. The game, as we know, was overshadowed by chants about the Hillsborough disaster in the away end, and then coins were thrown at Guardiola and the City team bus was attacked post-match. So when you look at that more closely, we understand here this morning that City are not going to make any comment about those chants.
Well, that's commendable.
They're not going to make any public comment about those chants.
They should do,
at this
Jim.
moment in time.
They should do.
Yeah, there are no plans to go public on it via statement or anything else to condemn the chants by City fans. Although City as a club condemn it. They condemn it, but they won't say it further in a statement.
Well, I mean, as much as, this society that we live in, when someone does something wrong, we always feel the need to apologise, and an apology means very little because most of the time it isn't steeped in any sincerity. It's just to get you off the hook. The bottom line is, if you are a public domain business that has far-reaching influence, irrespective of whether you're actually only a small business at 300 or 400 million quid a year, you have an inherent responsibility to turn around and call things out for what they are. If you want to give column inches to the newspapers to suggest that there's a reasons behind the reaction of your fans, then conversely, you should also turn around and say, and by the way, irrespective of all that, Manchester City wholeheartedly and unreservedly condemns its fans for those sort of outbursts and that sort of singing. And so, on the other side of the argument, in the event that there has been damage and trouble with the Man City bus, as there has been in previous situations like 2018, then Liverpool should be doing exactly the same thing.
What would you do if you were Khaldoon Al-Mubarak at City? Would you come out with there are stories circulating that there were chants in our away end at Anfield about the Hillsborough disaster in the away end. We condemn this outright, blah blah blah. Khaldoon Al-Mubarak, chairman Manchester City.
There's no harm and no foul in that. It's a zero-sum game. All you're doing is doing what's appropriate. You are an influential football club that has a huge fan base and a standing within the confines of society and football. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to condemn something like that? What possible hurt or harm or foul can it cause by saying it's a section of our fan base that we would much rather behave themselves in a far different way, minority or no minority? And no one's suggesting it's representative of the Man City fan base, because on the whole, Man City fans are brilliant fans, like most football fans are.
Yeah.
But in this instance, you have to be what you want others to see you as, which is a leading light.
I'm pushing you, Simon, to tell me if you thought Klopp's pre-match comments were inflammatory or realistic. There's a message coming in. Jim, make your mind up. Klopp answered a question. We knew the answer to it. If he ignored the comment, you'd say he didn't have the balls to answer it.
Yeah.
Klopp's living in City's head rent-free.
Well, I mean, again, the question was asked of him. He could choose not to answer it, but why should he? And why should that be, in any parallel universe, a pass as some sort of incendiary call to action? You have spent enormous amounts of money. You are a football club owned by a certain regime that causes consternation across a variety of continents and countries.
Yeah, your net spend on Manchester City across the last 5 years would make you 12th.
I don't agree with that.
And as Klopp spoke, it would make Liverpool 9th.
I don't agree with that. I'm afraid.
Those are the facts.
No,
Simon.
those are the facts. Those are the sentiments being advanced by Martin Samuel. I've done a different analysis, and I'll be happy to be corrected. But I don't imagine that Manchester City are sitting 12th in the Premier League. Who's above them? Bournemouth in spend? I mean, let's be realistic
Manchester
about
United
it.
are top
Well,
with
we know
an
that.
average of 105 million.
We know that Manchester United
if you
are
need
out
to
of control.
know, Arsenal, Chelsea, West Ham, Newcastle, Liverpool's average net spend 36.3 million.
But look.
Manchester City's net spend over 30.6 million.
I don't agree with those figures, I'm afraid, and I will have. I mean, I've just seen a different statistic which shows from 2016, which of course is a 6th year rather than a 5th year.
But City would point you to those figures.
And maybe they will. And again, we'll have to do the analysis ourselves to be absolutely clear on it, but I'm not taking prima facie at face value what Martin Samuel's telling me, because I don't agree with it. Not because I don't want to agree with it, and if I'm wrong, I'll be happy to say I'm wrong. But I do concur with the idea that Man United are profligate, but beyond all levels of profligacy. But it's very difficult to see how Newcastle, whose fans have been screaming and crying like stuck pigs for as long as I can listen about how little they spend.
Right.
How can they possibly have a lower net spend or higher net spend than Manchester City?
As we hit the 10:30 break, I'll ask you this. Give me an answer in a sentence, Simon. City believe Klopp's comments contributed to the toxic atmosphere on Sunday. Did they?
I think he played to the gallery. I think it's a piece of shtick that annoys Man City fans. So was it necessary for him to say it? No. Should he be censored? Can he not say what he thinks? The alternate argument is, was it necessary to keep poking at an open wound? Well, get over yourselves. You've been bought by one of the richest groups in the world with a motivation for soft influence, and not because they love Moss Side.
What's your take on it? City say they were inflammatory, but were they inflammatory, the comments pre-match, or were they realistic? You can give us a call by all means. Many of you are doing that. 03717 2233 448 1089.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.